Good afternoon, my fellow panelists and ladies and gentlemen. It's the post-lunch slump, so I'm not sure how many of you are really listening to what I feel is quite an important topic. And I think there are two words that kind of jump out at you when you're looking at it. One is the essentials of visionary. Visionary is a word that jumps out at you, and the other word that jumps out at you is globalization. And I think both these words are extremely important and interconnected words. A lot has been said about what should be taught at these kind of visionary schools, what should be the methodology, what should children be learning. And I think I just want to pull back a little bit. And because we only have about 7 to 8 minutes to speak, just put some questions in front of you that might help to evolve the discussion a little further. I think the biggest challenge in our country today is we have 165 million children, out of which 90 million currently are accessing any kind of schooling at pre-primary or primary level. Consider this 90 million children are actually people who are going to form the global workforce between the years 2020 and 2025. What does it mean in terms of being a global workforce? Are they going to join the global workforce as decision makers, critical thinkers, innovators, thought leaders, or are they going to join the global workforce as laborers or skilled laborers? Because, ladies and gentlemen, the latest USSR report states that grade 5 kids today cannot read grade 2 text. They can't read. Forget about comprehending. Forget about fluency. The challenges in the public and the private sector is enormous as far as education is concerned, and it really starts with pre-primary and primary education. The fact of the matter is that, yes, it does carry on beyond the pre-primary, primary, into secondary, into higher studies, which all need a drastic amount of reform to happen. I think the government has realized that. The latest RTE, the Right to Education Act, does look at including pre-primary as an essential focus area. I think the larger questions in front of us is that, yes, the public system is the largest service delivery provider, and there is a need to reform this. There is a need to look at curriculum and content and teacher training as essential means to provide education to children. That education is not just about attending school, it's about learning in classrooms. And are they learning? So what are the essential requirements that a person would need today in order to join that global workforce, to live in that globalized world, to really become India shining in 2025 when India, due to its sheer strength of its population, contributes to the global workforce? What does it mean? What are some of the requirements? Creativity and innovation, critical thinking, and problem solving, communication and collaboration. There has to be initiative, and they have to be self-directed. Leadership and responsibility. Is our curriculum, is our content, is our methodology process really gearing us in terms of including all of this? So that's one question I'm just leaving for all of you to think about and respond to. The other area I really want to talk about is globalization, and whether you are in the pro-globalized camp or the anti-globalized camp, it doesn't matter. The fact is, as the previous speakers have already alluded to it, we are increasingly a globalized world. It is, increasingly a world with porous borders physically, and because of information technology, a world which is already a one-world system. In this kind of a scenario, the essential skills a person needs to have is not about just knowing about other cultures, but about embracing other cultures, embracing other religions, embracing caste, color, race, and genders, because that is the reality of the global world that we are going to inhabit very soon, if we are not already inhabiting it. And in this kind of an environment, how does tolerance, inclusion, mutual respect, and understanding form an essential part of curriculum needs to be shown. Sesame Street was born out of the civil rights movement in the United States of America way back in 1967. It was born out of certain factors. There were people and populations in the United States who could not access education. The public broadcasting system was just launching its television channel. The power of the Muppet and the power of the media came together to provide Sesame Street as an option to children who did not have access to education. 43 years later, 150 countries around the world. I think one of the reasons why we are still relevant today is because of the fact that our vision is really about creating a better world for all of us. So, within that context, we've just launched Sesame Street preschools, and I just want to relate two incidents to you. One is that in Jaipur, when we were launching up preschools, we were conducting focus group discussions with parents. The parents came and told us, in Hindi, "Oh, your schools will take all kinds of children?" So we said, yes, they will. You know, in Jaipur, we have a lot of caste class factors. And we are like, well, if you do, then we can't take you in our schools. That's just a telling thought about 21st century globalized world. Even today, we can't look at school inclusion within our own classrooms, within our own cities, within our schools. So, big area of concern for us. So she said, oh, you know what? I had a student in my class who used to write with their left hand. So I tied the left hand to the chair so that the student now writes with the right hand, and the parent is really happy. Yes, it's funny. But you know what? It's so scary. It's so scary that we actually have, misdirected notions about what is right and what is wrong. Anyway, I don't want to take too much of your time. I just wanted to leave you with a couple of thoughts. One is that there is an immense need to improve quality in both the public and the private education system. There are some excellence and schools of excellence that exist, including Pearson, Global, and whoever is present here who will be presenting. But those are not accessible by the mass. So there is a plethora of preschools, primary schools that are coming up where quality is hugely needed, and there needs to be a reform. The second is that today the tendency of both the government as well as the people is to really start spending on education when the child goes into formal schooling system. But there is a plethora of evidence to suggest that schooling needs to begin at a much, much earlier age, and it needs to be regulated, and there has to be certain standardized guidelines around which preschool and primary schools operate in this country. And the third is that there is a drastic need to have high-quality teachers trained in this country so that the education that is being provided is provided meaningfully. Apart from engaging content, holistic curriculum, and a teaching methodology in classrooms that really engage children, parents, and the community together. Thank you very much.